Every coffee needs a lotus.
Okay, and we're live. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to our Zoom participants and good morning to our FB Live viewers. So it's wonderful Wednesday today, and welcome to another series of our HR Virtual Summit PH Bounce Back HR. This is another e-learning session brought to you by Ariva Academy. So our topic for today is solutions oriented leadership, how to survive and thrive during a crisis. This is Irish Malonda Samson, your host, and our moderator is Mr. Howell Mabalat. Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning, Miss Irish, our dear president, and good evening to our speaker who resides in the States, in the
Okay,
USA.
let us start. So, shall we acknowledge our out of the country participants first? And they are from Shibuya, Japan. Kota Kinabalu, Malaysia. Hello, thank you for joining us. Petaling Jaya, Malaysia. Phoenix, Mauritius. Lalitpur, Nepal. Oslo, Norway. Wow. Warsaw, Poland. Doha, Qatar. Dharan, Saudi Arabia. Singapore. Pattaya, Thailand. Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Canada. San Francisco, California. Houston, Texas. Chicago, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thank you for joining us today. And in order for us to have a smooth flow of our e-learning session, here are the house rules. So please, for those of you who are first time viewers of our webinar, please type in hi in the chat box now. Let's check who are the first time viewers here. And for those of you who are in the FB Live, type in hi in the comment box also so we can greet you. Maria Sandra, lovely, Raya, Claudette, hello, welcome to our e-learning session. Russell, okay, let's check on our FB Live viewers. Hi, Ken, welcome to our e-learning session. Good morning, Ms. Mirasol from FB Live. Okay, Beatrice, hello. Thank you for watching. Okay, so let's do a sound check now. You will be needing a good quality headset. So, and please use the following codes. Please type in 111 in the chat box if you can hear us loud, if you can hear us clearly, and we are audible. So far, Russell, Raya, 111, Claire, Oline, Christian, Delilah, thank you. Okay, so far we're loud and clear. 222 means you cannot hear us. No sound at all. So 2121 means the sound is breaking or there's a log. And question mark if you don't understand anything. Sir Howell, we are loud and clear, so we're good. Okay, we will be having a 2 to 3 minute break after the presentation of our guest speaker and before we move on to our question and answer portion. For the question and answer guidelines, participants' microphones will be temporarily disabled by the administrator during discussions to avoid interruptions. Questions will be entertained after each topic of the session. For questions and clarifications during the provided time after each topic, please click the raise hand button for the administrator to enable the microphone for live questions. Type in your questions at the Q&A box. One question at a time will be entertained. For comments and feedback, please scan this QR code. This will be directed to our feedback form. Please send us your comments, suggestions, topics to discuss in order for us to improve our future e-learning sessions. And we're good. So, to discuss solutions-oriented leadership, how to survive and thrive during a crisis, Mr. Howell Mabala, please introduce our speaker.
Wow, it's definitely an honor to introduce our speaker for today, who I have personally met 2 years ago during our Philippine HR Congress at the MOA, how do you call it? The
HR
Mall of
Philippine
Asia.
Congress.
Where was it done?
Philippine HR Congress, right?
Mall of Asia, right?
Mhm.
SMX Convention. Our speaker for today needs no, well, introduction because he has his own video to introduce himself. He's a certified speaking professional of the National Speakers Association, NSA. That's all I'm going to say. So, everyone, let's watch this video clip.
Dr. Rick Goodman is a speaker, author, and serial entrepreneur who has delivered over 1,000 presentations throughout the world, in addition to creating several multi-million-dollar businesses. Dr. Rick is passionate about sharing his proven success systems on leadership, engagement, and business growth. Please welcome Dr. Rick Goodman.
Good evening, Dr. Rick Goodman.
Good evening. How are you? My video coming live yet? Are we live?
We're seeing you. I'm already seeing you. Your
You're
face.
seeing
Yes.
me. That is outstanding. Hal, it's so great to see you again. Mabuhay.
Nice to see you again.
All my friends in the
You know-
Philippines.
Yes, and you know what, Dr. Rick Goodman, what I remember about you 2 years ago? Do you remember the VIP luncheon that we hosted?
Absolutely.
And then the Asian participants asked every attendee a question and every VIP speakers a question. And the question was, which is harder, hiring or firing? And 2 years after, I still remember your answer. Your answer was you don't fire them, they fire themselves.
Exactly.
And
And that's really the way it is. And same thing here with the crisis in leadership and our mentalities and our positivity. You know, it's a choice. We get to choose.
And we're excited today, Dr. Rick Goodman.
I am so excited to be here with the most positive people on the planet. And you know, when I had the opportunity to share this information, and I've spoken to so many of my colleagues in the US and overseas, and I see we've got people from Singapore and Japan, Shibuya, and so that must be one of my good friends from the US Army. And so I'm really excited about having everybody here today so I can share some information, because many of us are going through the same thing right now in a different way. So it's affecting us all, but in a different way to each and every one of us. So I'm going to want to share some information with you so that we can overcome some of these challenges. And I've seen a lot of the questions that you've already posed. I've done a lot of homework, so I really have a good understanding of what's happening over there also. So what I've done is my best to tie in some of the questions that you've already posed in advance, and hopefully we'll answer those. But we'll also answer any questions that you have afterwards. And what I'd like to do is kind of get the pulse of everybody over there and everybody on the call right now. So we've created a quick 4-question poll that we'd like to introduce, and how to get that poll going. So I'd like to find out a little bit about the pulse of what's happening to the people on the call, so we might be able to personalize this a little bit more.
Okay, that's going to be great. Dr. Rick Goodman, here's what will happen. I'll be asking our attendees this poll question number 1. Will it be now, or will you be presenting already the PowerPoint slides that you have?
Just let's go for the poll questions, and then we'll move right on.
Okay, so for our participants here via Zoom, how often are you communicating with your team? So just pick one of the following choices: daily, 3 times a week, 2 times a week, 1 time a week, or randomly. So you're given a minute to answer this question. So 1 minute starts now. And for our FB Live viewers, and even our YouTube viewers and LinkedIn, we're being watched by thousands of people from all parts of the world. By the way, Dr. Rick Goodman.
That's awesome. You know what? Ariva does such a great job in reaching out to people. And now is a time for us to communicate, to get the facts out there. And we'll talk a lot about that, a lot about transparency, facts, and really understanding. So we can come up with a strategic plan on how to handle this. And also, let's look at this as an opportunity, because we do have the opportunity now to do things that we might not have been able to do when we're running and we're busy and we're doing the daily things.
So, Doctor.
So daily, that's great. So 64% are daily. We've got some randomly here too, but daily is great. And we're going to talk about communicating daily, because people need to be in touch with what's going on, whether it's just checking in on somebody, checking in on a customer, and seeing if there's anything they need. And this is the time to do it. So that's great. Let's go to the next polling question, Hal.
Okay, so what's the second poll question? Is your company keeping you informed about operations? Yes or no? You're given a minute. By the way, Dr. Rick, while our Zoom participants are answering this poll question number 2, do you have any PowerPoint presentation you'd like to share along the way as you present? Or will you be doing this?
What we've done is the PowerPoint is actually going to be behind me.
Oh, great.
So
wow.
What we want to do is we're making it just like I'm on stage over at the Mall of Manila, the Mall of Manila, and just being there with the people.
And so that's how I feel right now.
You're going to be seeing everything. Exactly.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So, and they'll have the opportunity to get that PowerPoint, but more importantly, we wanted them to get the information right here and feel like we're giving a presentation, that we're not just going through PowerPoints. So it's really important for that interaction. Well, that's great. So we've got a huge majority here, 94% are being kept informed, and that's outstanding. That's great. Let's go to the next polling question, Hal.
Okay, so for the third question on the poll, so what is your job security? So choose one from the 5 that has been listed there. I still have one. Not sure, especially after the lockdown. Waiting to see. I lost my job, and we're sorry about that. I'm not sure, so I am searching for a new job. So 5 almost similar question, very tricky, or 5 very similar choices, but we need...
Because, that's the thing about today, Hal.
True.
Most people are unsure.
They are unsure.
It's not, so really we're waiting, some people wait and see, and I'm going to talk about the different types of people, what happens during a crisis, because, I don't want people to feel like they're alone, that they're going through this separately. So you're going to get that variety of people through that. So we're coming down to about 49 seconds. Great. So still have one. Excellent. Not sure.
Happy for them.
Great. And waiting to see. And we've got some people still, not sure, looking to kind of make a plan. And you know what? No plan is a plan to fail. So real important that we do have that plan. Let's go to the last polling question, Hal.
And for the last poll question, everyone, have you made a new plan of action for yourself since the crisis began? In the Philippines, started last March 15. So
again, right around the time it did here in the States. In fact, my last speech was on March 10th. And when I was coming back through the airport in Los Angeles, I was the only person going through security. So we'd already started to kind of see that. So again, we've all kind of gone through a similar time frame of, slow down, stay at home regulations, etc. So again, I wanted to just get that same feel, because I knew you guys were, your brothers of ours over there in the Philippines, and a lot of us are going through the same type of situation. So a lot of the answers are going to be similar on how we handle it, just maybe a little bit different in certain people's situations. So working on a plan, that's great. thinking about it, you don't want to think about it. And we'll talk about that, today. You want to get started running. And if you think about it, when someone is you see a relay race, what happens? The first person's running, but the second person to get that baton, they're already in motion. They're already starting to run. They're not standing still, because if you're standing still, it's that much harder to get started. So we want to make sure that you're starting to run, you're starting to move forward, because, if you think this is a vacation, all of a sudden you're going to wake up and boom, the world is going to leave you behind. So let's get into it. Let's talk about that right now. You ready to go, Hal?
Yes, sir.
I am ready to rock and roll. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the world, what's been happening, and let's talk about how we can handle a lot of these different issues with what's going on, how we can handle it, what we can do to attempt to have happen. So I want to talk a little bit about the agenda. And the first thing we're going to talk about is customer interactions, because the customer interactions are going to be very different today than they were before. Our customer interactions will go into are going to be more as an advisor, more as a position of seeing what people need right now. Because as I said one time before, the pendulum is going to swing back and forth. And when times get good, and they're going to get good again, people are going to remember who looked after them. So you want to make sure that your customer interactions are there to add value, to add support, to listen and see exactly what's going on with them, and not giving too much advice if not asked for. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Then we're going to talk about psychological responses, because some people are going to go through different psychological responses, and people are going to go through things where they're going to be intimidated. So we're going to talk about some of those psychological responses, what's going to happen to them, how people are going to kind of go through things, and how we can best respond throughout that agenda. Okay. We're going to talk about personal balance. Okay. Because personal balance is going to be key, and maintaining positivity. Now, I know how positive the people are in the Philippines, and there's people all over the world right now listening. And it is a choice. We have to start looking at some of the good things that we have here and the opportunities. And you know what? We've all been in a situation before where we've gone through a crisis. So we're going to discuss how people go through a crisis, some of the things that happen in that crisis, and what we can do to kind of avoid that. We're going to also talk a little bit about past and present clients, because I want to make sure that we're not just addressing the people that we're working with right now, but people we've worked with in the past, because that's opportunities into the future. And what I've recognized is a lot that what's going on right now, especially in your country, is about customer service, helping people, keeping people informed. And the thing that the poll really indicated is that people are being kept informed. People are seeing what's going on, and that's beautiful. And we're going to talk about communication and employee engagement. I see that we're connected. Sometimes it's tough. I recognize that not all the internet works great. I recognize that sometimes we're cramped in close confines, especially in Manila, where there's so many people there. I remember driving through Makati and, just around dinner time, and the people coming out in the streets, it could take you about 3 hours to get, a mile. So, we know it's crowded. We know we've got a distance, but we've got to communicate effectively, and we've got to engage. And then also, one of the biggest challenges that, most of us are going to be having are going to be working at home. We'll talk a little bit about working at home and how we can handle that. So without any further ado, let's just jump right on into clients and customers. Now, when I was speaking over at the HR Congress, the first thing I talked about is the difference between a client and a customer. And in my philosophy, a customer is a financial transaction. Someone is giving you money, they're giving you a service, and that's it. It's done. I believe that we have clients, and we should all be looking for clients. And client stands for care, protection, and guidance. We want to care for them, we want to protect them, and we want to guide them to the right solutions. So it's so important that we start looking at what people want versus what people need also. And a lot of people want a lot of things, but what do our customers really need? What do our employees really need? And we have to start to ask. And sometimes it's as simple as asking, what's going on? What do you need my help with? How could we better communicate right now? How can I better make you feel comfortable about what's going on, even though It is a crisis. We know something's going on, and we're going to have to respond to it. So the more communication that we can have, and the more we're looking for the best solutions for them and finding out, do they really need our solutions? Because some people are just hiding right now. Some people are just worried. So we also have to be very careful on how we approach it, because everybody's going through this differently. And people go through cycles. Some people are going to go through a cycle where they're feeling great and everything's going great. And then all of a sudden they're going to have a day where they're just feeling blue and they're feeling down. They don't know why. Some people are going to go through situations where they're just doing so much work and they're getting so much done and they're cleaning things around the house. And other times they're not going to want to get out of bed. So we have to understand that these are normal emotions that we go through in a situation like this. But we also have to focus on how can we care for people, how can we protect them, and how can we guide them. So that's what we want to look for, because that's really what we want to do right now, is create clients. We want to create people that we are that, as I say, go-to guy or gal, the person who's top of mind, so that they're looking for us to move forward. Next, let's talk a little bit about some of the psychological responses that are going on right now with your customers. You got some people that are completely hunkered down. They absolutely are not going to do anything. They are just waiting. Then you've got other people. Let me just see slide 7. Okay, give me a second here. Okay, why is this going down here? Sometimes we do have some technical difficulties, but we're going to overcome here. Okay, some are hunkered down there, and then we've got others that are hesitant. Now, people that are hesitant, people that are hunkered down, they're just waiting and seeing. They're taking that wait and see attitude. And because they're taking that wait and see attitude, what we've got to do is we've got to let people know sometimes that if they're waiting, if they're hesitating, things are going to get started and life is going to move on without them. And then they're going to be behind the race. And we know that's not something that you want to do. We don't want you to get behind the race. So it's important to start moving some of these people off of that place. And if that's you, just remember that an object in motion stays in motion unless acted on by another force. If you're not in motion, it's going to be so hard for you to get started, especially after all this is going on. Don't wait for someone else to get started. Be the one that starts things and brings people along with you. Because isn't that spirit of Bayanihan right now that's going throughout the whole country, where people are coming together to really work together and do some great things? So we need to have that spirit moving forward, and we need to know that if we're hesitant, if we're hunkered down, it's not going to happen. Next, we've got some people that are going to be our ideal people. They're going to be ready to rock and roll. They are ready to move forward. And you know who those people are. Those are your best customers. Those are your best clients. They're reaching out to you. Those are the people that you can start to ask if they've got anything else that they can do. So really important to get them to move forward, to understand who those ideal people are, and make a list. It may be your top 10 people, your top 20 people, but you want to keep checking in on them and asking them what they need, how you can handle them, what you can do best for them to get their needs done. Now, understanding that we've got a cycle here that's going to be moving forward. So my slides are out of order here. So let me just get to the next slide. Give me 1 second here. 17, 13, 12. Start to go into a situation where things happen. We go into crisis. And when people go into crisis, there's different responses. You remember when you were in school, you learned about the fight or flight mechanism. You know, you see a bear in the woods, and what are you going to do? You're either going to fight or you're running from that bear. Well, in a lot of instances, people are just sitting there hoping it's going to go away. They're ducking their heads in cover. They're in crisis. But you have to understand that once we go out of crisis, the second thing that happens is you accept it. And it's really important, you know, because if you haven't accepted that things are going to be different now, you're in big trouble. I was just at the grocery store, you know, with the masks on here in the US. In fact, when I dropped food off at my mother, she came out of her house with her mask on. So if that's not different, seeing your 77-year-old mother with a mask coming to get the food that you dropped off because she doesn't want to get sick, You got to accept it. It's not going to change. So what do we have to do? We have to learn how to do things a little bit differently. A little bit differently. We're going to have to change the way we do things. But first, you've got to accept it. You can't be that ostrich that's going to stick your head in the sand and hope that it's going to go away, because it's not going away. Understand that when we go through the acceptance, we're going to go through recovery. And so many of us are going through recovery right now because we've taken the proper actions. I was just looking at the Corona tracker over in the Philippines. I noticed that cases are down. It's coming down a little bit. People are responding to some of the social distancing and the recommendations that's happening. But we're going to recover. We've recovered from every crisis known to mankind. So it's not a vacation that you just got that you're not going to come out of and it's going to go on forever. We're going to go through this. But here's really the key. The key is we're going to end up with a new success. This is the time for opportunities. There are some people that are going to find amazing opportunities in what they're doing. In fact, right now, you're going through opportunities that you probably wouldn't have had before, because almost all the events that I know that Ariva did around the country and around the world, they were live events. They loved having in-person events. And now they've had to shape, pivot, adapt in a wonderful way where they're giving all these great programs that you can enjoy and people can enjoy around the world. So they're enjoying a new success because they weren't willing to wait. They were going to move, because you've got to be the type of person who's going to start innovating. You've got to be moving forward, coming up with ideas, and knowing that the people that innovate, the people that come up with those ideas are going to be the people that are going to move ahead when things start to get better, and they're going to get better. Now, some people just want to hide. They want to duck and hide and hope that this is all going to go away. Understand those people are going to be behind the race. That's not going to be you. So you can't hide. You've got to come to that acceptance, and then you got to make that plan. So when we did the poll, it was nice that a lot of people started making a plan, but there were a great amount of you that were thinking about it or working on it. You either do it or you don't. Remember, I always said there's no such thing as a try. Take a CD, stick it in your car, try to turn it on. It either goes on or it doesn't go on. So make sure that you're not hiding out. You're not waiting for things to change. Then there's people that conform. They're ready for it. They understand what's going on. They're going to conform. They're going to pivot. They're going to do something a little bit different. But really what I want to look at is I'm really interested in people that are cutting and running. I want to stay away from them. Some people are giving up and quitting. And you know what? There's no reason to. You've got to move forward. You know, I've been through some of the torrential rainstorms down there in the Philippines and down and here in Florida, Miami. And when you drive in your car, you know it can rain on one side of the street, not the other. But if you're not moving forward, you don't get through that rainstorm. And some people pull to the side of the road and they just wait. Other people say, you know what, I'm going to go home. I'm not going to go out. It's raining. I don't like the rain. So you've got to understand that if you're going to do that, that's just giving up. That's an instantaneous fail. And then there's other people that are going to cheat and hoard. And those are the people that bought all the toilet paper, that bought everything thinking that life was over. I'm going to say that I might have hoarded some Oreo cookies for the first couple of days. I'll admit it. I bought food I would have never bought in a million years. And then I realized, you know what? Life's moving forward. We all go through this. We just go through it at different levels. So I'm not going to say I didn't feel bad about life. You know, when you have most of your, events canceled, when you can't get to the Philippines because you love to spend time with people there, when you can't travel around the world, you've got to do things a little bit different. And some people do that because it's a sense of control. When they can hoard things, when you buy a lot of things, you feel like at least you're in control of some part of your life. Understand, as long as you're in control of your mind, you're going to be in control of your life. So there's going to be plenty to do. And then there's innovators, the human response to crisis. And you guys have some innovators in that country that are doing amazing jobs. I mean, Mayor Isko, unbelievable mayor in Manila, has been doing some fabulous things. He's just been doing, donated to the Philippine General Hospital. He's urged other leaders to get involved. He's a solutions-oriented leader. He's focusing on solutions. And then you got Mayor Vico, one of the youngest mayors, 30 years old, and he's doing some great things also, and he's getting it together. He's making it happen. But then you got Ramon. And what he did was he adapted. He innovated. He started taking his business and adapting it to help the Filipino people. He started to deal with food products and create, different products out of that. He offered to buy fresh produce for the farmers. All the things stepping up. See, it's the people that step up and innovate that are going to do things. And you know what? They're no different than you and I. They put their pants on one leg at a time. They really do. They didn't start, for the most part, from money. Some of them started from nothing. But they did the right thing. They moved forward and they innovated. The people that are going to be innovating and the people that are going to move forward during this crisis and come out the big success. And that's what you can do also. It's about getting creative. It's about looking and asking yourself the right questions. What can we do about this? What can I do to help others? Because what you're going to find, and I'm going to talk about it, is when you're helping others, it feels so much better for you. It's always better to be giving than receiving. And you know what? It also takes you and makes you more positive in the long run. So doing this, knowing that these are innovators, who's the innovators there? Who's going to be innovating and doing things differently at their place of work? So what I'd like to do is, before we open up to the next step, I want to talk about working from home. Are there any questions, Hal?
So we're supposed to entertain the questions from Zoom room after your presentation, sir. But if you want,
okay.
Do you feel okay with being interrupted?
I can be interrupted with one question, or we could
Okay,
just
sure. So thank you, sir Rick Goodman, for that. So for our Zoom participants, you can start typing in now your questions at the Q&A box.
Perfect. And why don't we do this, Hal? Why don't you take the questions, you'll deliver them to me, and I'm going to move forward through working through home, and then we'll go from the next section. How's that work?
Sure. So that's what will happen. So when somebody types in the question, I will immediately interrupt you politely and read it to you out loud.
You are one polite guy, Hal. I do remember that. I remember all of our discussions. Let's talk about working from home. And working from home doesn't mean you don't wear pants. It doesn't mean that you dress just because you're like on a weekend or on a holiday. Because if you do that, what's going to happen is it's going to make you feel like you're on a holiday. It's going to make you feel like you're not going to work. You've got to get into a routine. So it's important to have some rules when you're working from home. And the first rule is you got to have a schedule. You've got to have some form of a schedule, something you're going to do. In fact, I've got my schedule right here in front of me, and every day I've got a schedule. I've got it wrapped up where what I'm going to do on those days. So it's plotted out, no different than what I'm asking you to do, you got to do also. Because think about this. When we went to school, we knew what we had first period and second period and third period. Now we're at home. We're working from home. Some of you got families. The kids are running around. Maybe your parents are in the house. And every day seems like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. You don't even know what day it is half the time. So having that schedule is going to give you some discipline, also going to help you to stay focused and accomplish your goals and objectives. Because remember, we're going to come out of this, and it's not going to go on forever. But if you're not ready, if you don't have some discipline going on, you're going to find out you're way behind. It's like thinking school's out, and all of a sudden they didn't forget about all the homework you had to turn in when school starts up again. And you said, well, but school is out. No, you got to do your homework. So really important, you got to do your homework.
So Dr. Rick Goodman, speaking of home and homework, we have one present question, which I'd like to ask you on that note. Marie Navidad, how can leaders adapt to the changing working environment, like working from home, and at the same time supervising workers away from the office?
Well, it's important to keep in touch with your workers, okay? You can't micromanage them. They're adults. You want to do something, and we're going to talk about the huddle. I mentioned this when I spoke in the Philippines, which is a morning huddle, which is getting together with your team, whether it's on a quick Zoom call, and letting them know what you're working on, because that's really important, because they may think you're not doing anything. So you want to let them know what you're working on, find out what they're working on, and see if they need any help. And then get out of it and let them do it. Then you want to check back, and you're going to do that on a Wednesday. So I like to do the huddle. We'll talk about it on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we're letting people know what we do. We're seeing if they need any help. We're checking their progress on a Wednesday, following up on a Friday, and then letting them know what our plans are for the next week, for Monday. So it's keeping in touch, but not keeping on top of them. Letting them do their jobs, because if they're responsible, they're going to do their jobs. And remember, they're going through a lot of the same things that we're doing. Now,
Okay, Dr. Rick.
Sure.
Yes, we have now one question from the Q&A box.
Okay.
You mentioned about working, right? So in looking for opportunities, this is from an anonymous attendee. How sensitive should we be in selling our services, knowing that every organization is challenged by the quarantine? Or that's our term for lockdown. Or should we be more aggressive now in looking for opportunities to thrive during the crisis? It's a balance between sensitivity and being aggressive in selling.
This is the absolute worst time to sell.
Oh.
It's the worst. You do not, I mean, you know, who wants to buy? People are hoping they have money. You know, they're not going to work. In some instances, they may still have their job, but they've, you know, their income's been cut back. Other people have been furloughed. Other people have lost their jobs completely. So again, we're going to talk about, you want to be that trusted advisor. And I'll get more into that in a little bit. So we'll move forward. So we do have a question that I'll cover in a little bit. I'll just let you know we'll cover it in a little bit. But it's really important that you're there to aid people, to see if they need any help. They will remember. And if you are offering help, if you're seeing if they need anything, if they do and they need something, they're going to ask you, and that's the opportunity to sell them or see if they want to buy. Now could be the worst time on the planet to sell somebody. You want to position yourself as that guy, that gal, that person is there because the pendulum is going to swing back and forth. It's going to get better. But if you're focused on selling, they're going to remember who tried to sell them when they didn't have anything.
And that's a bad rep.
It's a bad way to go. So let's move on from working from home, because I'm going to cover that. I'm going to tell a little story about my XM satellite radio today and what they did for me, because I was ready to stop buying from them because it was expensive. You know, we all have budgets. You have to decide right now what's important for you to spend your money on, what is not important. You know, what's essential and what's not. And, you know, certain things that were maybe, extras or, bonus things or things that you just like to do that you don't really need. Now might be the time you don't really need them, because it all adds up. You know, it's that Superman theory of business. So working from home, have a schedule. Next, dress like you got an appointment. So if you're going to go for an appointment, dress like you got an appointment. When I get up in the morning and I'll dress, because if I'm going to shoot a video, if I'm going to send an email to somebody, I don't want to do it in my pajamas. And it also makes me feel better, like I'm doing something. Otherwise, I could be on vacation. I could go out to my pool. I could sit here and do nothing. So dress like you have an appointment, because the more you act like it, the more you're going to accomplish the things that you need to do now. Because again, it's not a vacation. These are the times where you're laying the groundwork for your future. Next, no TV. There is nothing good on TV. If you want to get depressed, if you want to get down, if you want to think the world's coming to an end, watch TV. There is zero good. Who's dying, who's getting killed, who's doing this. There is zero good, and it'll depress you. So right now, keep those blinders on. If you think about it, when a horse is in a race, they have blinders on the horse. And the blinders are on the horse, so the horse stays focused on the finish line. You need to stay focused on the finish line. And watching TV is not going to get you there, unless it's a comedy or something that's going to help you out. Next, make a list of 3 priorities a day. Now, I like to use 3 priorities a day and Essentia water. And the reason why is if we try to tackle 10 or 12 things, we're going to be let down. Some of us don't feel like we are accomplishing anything right now. And some of us are running out of stuff to do. So focus on 3 things that are going to be high quality things to do a day. Now, there's something that I use. I talked about scheduling and planning, and I have no investment in this company, but I think it's a great tool. And I use something called the Best Self Journal. So I will journal and I will write down things in there, my 3 priorities. And it'll say, what are my 3 targets for the day? So right here, it shows you my 3 targets for the day. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm telling you, because so many is focused on our to-do list. You got 20 things on that to-do list, and you don't get it done, and you get frustrated, and you feel like you didn't accomplish anything, or you're a loser. You didn't get it done. Nobody does. So pick those 3 things. When you get those 3 things done, 1, it keeps you focused. 2, it doesn't overwhelm you. And at the end of the day, you have a sense of accomplishment. You feel like you really did something. So it's really good. Stick with those 3 things, and you're going to see that you're going to accomplish a lot more. And again, you're going to have some balance, because what you're going to find, this could be the only time that you start to find balance in your life. Next, spend no more than 45 minutes per activity. So start to clock yourself. I've got Alexa, so I will just say, Alexa, give me a warning in 45 minutes. And boom, the alarm stops, and I go to the next thing. Because 1, if you spend too much time on one activity, you get burnt out. You get bored, and then you're not motivated at all. When you spend 45 minutes on something, you got 45 minutes to focus time. I would rather have you spend 4 hours of focus time than 8 hours of time getting some stuff done. This is the time to really give yourself a schedule that you couldn't do when you're going to work, and give yourself some balance where you can really catch up. And it's not going to happen again. You're not going to get a chance to catch up with all the stuff in the world has stopped. It's not going to happen again. So this is the time. Get that stuff done and start to come up with those things. Okay. Number 6, no back-to-back meetings. When you have back-to-back meetings, that day just goes, and then you try catching up at the end of the day. So give yourself a break in between meetings. Give yourself a way to let down, to catch up. You know, I've got one of my good friends, his name's Bruce Turkel, and after we go to a convention, he never goes home. He always stays after the convention, because so many people go and they got all this notes and they don't act on anything they learned. He stays to write things down, to review what he learned there so that he can then implement it. I think it's a great idea. This is the time to work on the business, work on our lives, and not work in our lives. And what I mean is not doing the minutia, the little, what I call the $5 activities with $100 time. So you can do all these things, and you can get a lot done, and especially if you manage your time a little better. And like I said, I just block it off, color coded. I write what I want to do for that day in block schedules. So each day I know, here's what I'm going to do. First period, second period, third period. Just like school, it's easy. If you just keep it simple, you're going to move forward with things. Don't plan a full day. So like I said, you know that guy Murphy who shows up, the guy with the law. So you don't want to plan a full day. But more important, you don't want to plan a full day, because it's going to keep you doing something that you don't want to do in a place you don't want to do it. None of us want to be where we are right now. So planning a full day in a place you don't want to be will drive you insane. So don't plan that full day. You know, give yourself some free time. Give yourself some time to go out. I give myself some time to play with my dog Trumpets. So she comes in, we go out in the backyard, we go in the grove, we play a little bit. Then I come back, I say to her, time to go to work, and I go back to work. But I'm refreshed, I'm rejuiced. It's important to kind of re-energize yourself, especially during this time. Go out. Don't stay in the house permanently. I know you guys stay at home, but go out, get some fresh air, go out back, stick your head out the window. Whatever the regulations or rules are, you got to do it. You know, I'm fortunate where I can go out in my backyard, or I'll just go for a quick ride in the car, get some air, see something, and keep my mask on and all that stuff. You can do this, but you've got to keep sane. You've got to keep, like life moves forward. That's what I said to my mother. She went out tonight to dinner at my aunt's for the first time. And life's got to move forward. It's about quality of life. I don't want anybody to get sick. We want to remain safe. But you also got to get out there in the fresh air. And what they've shown is most people have never gotten any COVID in the fresh air outside in open spaces. It's in confined spaces. It's in mass transportation. It's on the metal. You know, it's on all that stuff. But outside in the sun, they're finding it's not happening there. So get out there, get that fresh air, keep your distance, but get that fresh air. It's going to be good for you, your mental attitude. Be honest about being at home. So I tell everybody, because you know what? In some manner, shape, or form, Truffles might start barking right in the middle of this. People know you're working from home, so let them know, yeah, I'm working from home. There may be interruptions from the children. There may be interruptions from your wife. The phone's ringing, the doorbell's going, whatever. The dog's eating the cat. Things happen. So because that happens, just let people know, hey, I'm working. I'm here at home. You may hear something or that's going on. People get it because they're going through the same thing. I was just watching on TV how a woman was doing Zoom meetings. And in every Zoom meeting, as the woman was on the wife was on the Zoom meeting, the husband would put on a costume and sit behind her in the background and photo Zoom bomb her. So, I found that was interesting. So people have different things they can do, but be honest, let them know, because we're all pretty much working from home unless you're essential, you're a nurse, a doctor, you're forced to go make grocery stores, people like that. So it's okay to be that right now. We know you are working. Don't multitask. Multitasking does not work. We know you just get a lot of little things half done. So stay focused. 3 things, stay focused, because if you can do just the 3 things, you're going to accomplish way more than you would if you were attempting to do 5 to 10 different things. You're not going to get done. So don't multitask. Get one thing done. You'll have that sense of accomplishment. Really important at this time. Set expectations for your family and friends. Your family may expect it. You're home. Now you get to do all this stuff. You get to sweep the floors, clean the house, the honeydews, the whatever. But whether you are the spouse, significant other, whoever it may be in the house, you still got a job to do. You still got, people to feed. You've got to keep your job. You got to earn things. So let people know. If you need private time, let your family know. And, you don't want to do it in a mean fashion, but say, I've got a meeting today from 2 to 3. If you could do me a favor and, keep the children quiet, they may be doing lessons from home. So we've all got to set those expectations, set those boundaries, because the more we set the expectations and let them know this is just an inconvenience, but it doesn't mean that I'm not working, I'm not on vacation, because people will think you're there. It's easy for you to do the things that are going to get you off your game. So stay focused. Let people know, let your family know. That's the most important. Just set up some basic ground rules for the work hours when you're at home. And postpone virtual socializing. You can get caught up in surfing the web very easily. You can get caught up in looking at the worst alerts, the latest news, the things that are going on, if it bleeds, it leads, as we say here. You want to postpone that virtual socializing to later. You could get caught up in Facebook. You can get caught up on Instagram or on YouTube. You see one cute video, it leads to another, to another, to another. Make that time like you're making right now for learning. So you should have educational time. Then you should have networking time. You should have some marketing time. You should have some family time. And then you should have some all about you time. Time that you're just spending with yourself so that you can re-energize, recoup, because taking care of yourself is the highest form of love that you can give, because you can't take care of others if you don't take care of you. And a lot of times, and I know because it's in the Filipino blood, you are such good people. You love to help other people. And sometimes it's at the expense of yourself. So you got to take care of yourself, self-nurturing, and then you can take care of others. And that's the way to do it. But, if you think about it, when you're on a plane, and if they say, if the oxygen falls down, put it on your face first, and then take care of your child. Because if you put it on your child first and you pass out, you're done. So important to understand taking care of yourself and postponing these things and then moving forward. So real important stuff to do. Let's talk a little bit about communication and employee engagement. And this is where the huddle comes in. And I'm a big fan of that huddle. And that's the morning huddle where we talked about a little bit before. Keeping people informed. And a huddle is not a meeting. This is very important. One time in Argentina, my team thought, a guy, Juan, called me up and he said, Rick, we can't do this huddle anymore. It's like an hour. And I said, let's call it a coffee huddle. So we all have a cup of coffee, and when the coffee's done, the huddle's done. And basically it's getting together with the team and saying, here's what I'm going to be working on this week. So they know what you're working on. What are you going to be working on? What do you need help with? And, let's check back Wednesday, or if you're going to do it daily, then do it 15 minutes in the morning daily. It's reaching out to your team. You can do it by video. You can do it by picking up the phone, but it keeps you in communication. I like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And again, because you're not micromanaging. You can't control everything. And if you call every single day, it makes your team feel like you're trying to control their lives and you don't trust them. That's the big point. So you want to make sure that they feel that trust, set up something just like it's scheduled. So, what gets scheduled gets done. Really important. So if it's not scheduled, it's not going to get done. So put it in there, block it out just like I do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to connect, and then we plan for the next week. So it's a great way of keeping on top of people and moving forward. That's the morning huddle. Now, there's 4 keys to a solutions-oriented communication. And the first is you've got to create an inspiring vision. You can't sell what you don't own. So right now, if you have a belief system that there's going to be problems and there's going to be challenges, you know what's going to happen. If you feel there's going to be problems, people are going to sense that. That's when people start to look for other jobs. That's when people live in fear. Remember, fear stands for false evidence appearing real. 95% of things we worried about never happen. So you've got to create that inspiring vision for your team. You've got to keep positive, even in situations that may not be that positive. I was telling my friend Nancy today, I said, sometimes I feel down also, but I can't afford to because you know what? If I do, other people will. And the reality is, this too shall pass. So create that inspiring vision, get people moving, just like your mayors did, just like Ramon Ang did. They created an inspiring vision, and what happened? Boom, everybody got behind them in the spirit, right? So move forward because that's what we do. Next, motivate people to buy into and deliver the vision. So you want to motivate people. How do you motivate them? What's in it for me? Remember we talked about that radio station, 97.3 WIIFM? What's in it for me? They want to find out how is it going to help them? What's it going to do for them? How are they going to move? And your passion will sell. Your belief system will sell. But you've got to manage delivery not only of the vision, but of the message. Because remember that phone game that we played when we were little, and we told one person a story that went through 2 or 3 other people, and then what happened? The story got all changed. So you've got to manage delivery of that vision. Next, you've got to build ever stronger based trust relationships. Build those strong trust relationships with people. How do we do it? By trusting them. And that's not micromanaging. So if you're that micromanager, and some of us are, what you're also doing is you're preventing people from staying focused and getting things done. I used to be an interrupter, a big time interrupter. If I gave my staff 10 things to do, I would go in my office for 10 seconds and I was up there 10 seconds later giving them another 10 things to do. And what I was doing was I was stopping what's called the zone or the flow. And the zone of the flow, that's when you were knocking things out, you were getting things done, and someone interrupted you and you couldn't get back to that spot again. So it's important to let our people get into that zone of the flow. And if we're micromanaging, if we're feeling we got to stay on top of them because they're not in our view, they're not in our control, we're going to lose productivity in the long run. So you're going to see it rise because trust will rise. Okay. And you'll see a whole different team like that.
Dr. Rick Goodman, our people our participants at the Zoom webinar chat are asking for rule number 3.
Okay.
They might
have missed it. And rule number 3, we want to manage delivery of the vision.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
And we'll provide anybody with the PowerPoints, okay? Past and present clients. Remember, people do business with people who they like or like them. You'll buy a product from a friend of yours, even if it costs a couple dollars more than going to the local discount place, because we do business with our friends. When we make our employees, when we make our team our friends, we're friendly with them, they know that we have their best interests, they will stick with you forever. So it's so important to understand what we want to do with the past and present clients right now. So the first action step you could take is ask every client, what can I do for you? That's it. Don't sell them. If you're selling me, I'm out right now. I don't want to buy anything right now. In fact, when I saw my Sirius XM radio, I said, wow, That's $30. That's a lot every month. Now, $30 every month, but it adds up. And I thought, you know what? I'm not driving my car. So if I'm not driving my car because I can't leave, what do I need to pay for music that I could just have on my phone? And like any of us, plug in my phone and it works through the car. Didn't make sense. I called them up and I said, I'm going to cancel. And they said, what can we do for you? And I said, I don't want to spend any money. And they said, would $6 a month be okay? From 30 to 6, I'm in. So what did they do? They changed my price value ratio, but more important, they asked, what can I do for you? They didn't try to sell me at all. They just said, would this work? They gave me an option. So we want to find out how we can help people. What can we do? Because most people are not buying. And if they do want to buy right now, then they will let us know. They'll give us an indication. But what you want to find out is how can we help you? Really, really important. Next, conduct a simple survey. Ask people. So no different than we did a polling question at the front. I found out that things are a lot better than I thought they were. I thought they were going to be a lot worse. But really, most of you are in good communication. Most of you got your jobs. Most of you are not looking. That's great news. So how do we find that out? Well, I had to ask some questions. So maybe you want to ask some questions of your customers right now, your clients right now. What types of services do you need from us right now? What are you looking to do? How can we help you? Maybe 3 or 4 questions that you'll get some really good information on. And maybe they're looking for something and you now can be innovative and develop something that's going to meet their needs. No different than having to adapt our factories to make, plastic masks and protection equipment, stuff like that, in factories that never made that kind of stuff. Or having, San Miguel, one of the biggest, brewers making antiseptic, stuff and disinfectants and stuff to help people. So people can adapt, but if you don't know what they want, how do you deliver on it? So conduct a simple survey, 5 or 6 questions or something from your best clients, because your best clients are going to give you an indication of where it's going. Remember, those ideal clients, the people hunkered down stuff, they're not looking, they can't even think straight. So go to those people, find out, because some of the things you develop for them may apply to those people and get them out from being hunkered down, hesitant, not wanting to do anything. Utilize video email. I love video email. There's all different kinds. And the reason being is I can't type. Plus, you know what? People can understand my inflection. They get the tonality. They get the understanding. And it's really important because then the message doesn't get mixed up. Also, I could say in less than a minute everything I need to say, and you'll get the message and saves you time. Also, think about who our buyers are these days. Who is the workforce? Our workforce is getting younger and younger, and especially over in the Philippines, when I've been there, you got a very young workforce. Well, what do they like to do? Do they like to type emails, or would they rather watch a video? You know the answer. They're going to turn on YouTube, watch a video. So video email is great. It gets someone's attention right away. You can communicate your message. Now, let's say you want to give instructions to your team. You could send all your people one video email and give instructions to your team, or let them know what you're working on, what you need from them. Save a lot of time, and you're not micromanaging the situation again. A lot is going to do with trust when people are working from home. So you've got to manage people's psychological situation. Shift your focus to becoming a trusted advisor with your clients. And again, when you're asking what they need, when you're doing surveys, you're now able to give them great advice. And remember, client stands for care, protection, and guidance. You can't care, protect, and guide them if you don't know what they need. So now you're able to shift that focus to that trusted advisor position at this point in time. Once things open up, then it's going to be easier to then sell them. Why? Because now you're the trusted advisor. You built that belief, and everybody wants that love, appreciation, and respect. Remember, like the food they eat, the air they breathe, the water they drink. So we want to have that faith, confidence, and belief in them also. This is the time that you get to build mounds of it. So really important, stay focused on that. Next, you got to take care of your body, mind, and soul. And this is your personal. We got to this. If you don't take care of you, it's not going to work anywhere. So here's 7 ways for you to maintain balance and positivity, both in your personal and your professional life. 1, engage in your interests. This is the time to do some of the stuff that you like to do that you never had time to do, because you got that time. You know, maybe it's a puzzle. Maybe you want to catch up and binge watch your favorite sitcoms. You know, maybe it's, you know, cleaning the house up. You know, for me, it was working in the Grove and fixing all these things I didn't have time to do when I was so busy. So engage in your interests, because it's going to keep you busy, keep you positive to do things you love to do. Maintain your focus. Maintain your fitness. You got to get out there and work out. You got to walk. You got to exercise. You got to do something. I just put the Wii Fitness back in my house. I bought it 18 years ago. I turned it on and it said, "You have not used this in 7,632 days." Now I'm using it, you know, and it works just as great as it did before. I could play Wii golf and tennis and all that stuff in my house. It's got this balance board. I could do yoga. So now I'm doing those things. It's built into my schedule. It's built in first thing in the morning, so I get it out of the way and I do it, because when I do it, I feel a lot better. You don't have to be an Olympic athlete. Just get out there and walk, exercise, move your body, because the more you move your body, your brain's going to get that oxygen. It's going to get those, you know, epinephrines and all that good stuff's going to go in. And next thing you know, you're going to come up with great ideas, but you're going to feel better about you. So maintain the fitness. Offer help to others. Like I said, the best thing you could do is when you help others, you feel great about you. I love helping people, and it makes me feel good about me, but it also makes me forget about what's going on. You know, I got stuff going on here too. You know, there's a lot of stuff happening here. I would like to go out. I would like to, you know, get on a plane. I love getting on a plane. So because I can't do those, I want to help others. And this is one of the best ways I can do it, because it makes me feel like I'm contributing. So the more you help others, the more you feel like you're contributing, the better your attitude is going to be, the more positive you will end up. Safe outdoor activities and family time. Now's the time, even if you don't like your family, maybe you get to know your family a little bit better. It might be fun. And if you love your family, well, then you get to spend some really great family time getting to know them, getting to spend that time that you might not get to spend later on. So have some activities, get out of that little area when you're able to do that, but spend a little time with the family outside of the house, because in that house is where everything happens. So it may not be a great place to spend time if you're quarantined and you're stuck, and then that safe time, get it out, get outside. Fact check. Don't believe everything you hear. I'm telling you, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a duck. Don't believe if they tell you it's a fish. All right. So fact check. Don't believe everything you hear. It's really important, because people are saying a lot of things that are not true, whether it's about the virus, whether it's about coming out of it. I'm giving you the poop right here, the real scoop. The real scoop is nobody knows. If someone tells you they know, they're lying. So what do we have to do? We have to make a plan of action to move forward right now in a safe and effective way, protecting ourselves physically and mentally. That's what we have to do until something further happens. Anybody says anything different, don't listen to them. Okay, very important. Fact check everything. And here's the final thing. Listen to your gut. Listen to Jimmy Cricket. I always say this. That's the one when you took that multiple choice test and you change it from the right answer to the wrong answer, you knew it and you beat yourself up. You said, "Oh, I knew that." Don't change that answer. That first gut reaction, it's going to be your gyroscope. Listen to it, please. Immerse yourself in humor. You got to laugh. I'm watching some funny stuff these days. Why? Because I got to laugh also. If I'm not laughing, you know, I'm looking out here and saying, "Oh, what's going on? I can't see my kids, and my daughter just moved. I can't go here. I can't go there. My favorite restaurants, everything's closed. I'm getting fat." All these things. I'm focused on that. So you got to laugh about it. Get some humor in there. Watch some comedy, a good chuckle, anything you can do. Because one, it elevates you also. It makes you feel better. It makes biological and physical changes in your body that are positive, and it sends great hormones to your brain. They're going to make you feel great. So immerse yourself in some humor. And spend some guiltless downtime. No fear. It's okay to take some time off. Don't take a week off, you know, but take an hour off. If you feel that you need to take a nap to re-energize, you're just not feeling all you, do it. I did one the other day. I said, you know, I just got to take a nap yesterday. I got to take a nap. I got to get my brain straight so I could be ready, so I could be on my game. We all need it. If it's good enough for Einstein, it's certainly going to be good enough for you. So make sure that you spend that guiltless downtime. And lastly, really important, all the information is out there in the world. All you've got to do is connect with people. You can connect on Facebook, people watching it on Zoom, they're on Facebook, some people watching on LinkedIn, they're all over the place. All the information's out there for you to become a solutions-oriented leader. In fact, the book, The Solutions-Oriented Leader, that went to #1 on Amazon on April 16th in the US is now available in the Philippines. So, and the person who designed the book cover is one of your own, Miss Lisa Bocarin from Pasig City, who designed the book cover. So it's one of my favorite places on the planet, and you all are some of my favorite people on the planet. I know you're focused on helping others because that's just the way your society runs, in a positive way. It's been like that since the beginning of time. We've been brothers and sisters together from across the ocean for a long time coming, and we'll always be. But it's really important that right now you maintain that positive focus. You maintain a good schedule. You connect with your loved ones, your clients, and offer help. Don't sell, offer help. Ask what you can do for them. It's going to come back to you tenfold return, I promise you. We're here for you. I'm here for you to answer any questions. I'm always here to be a trusted advisor. And make sure that you're paying attention, because Ariva is coming with some great programs, especially that are going to help you come through this situation on the other side with flying colors. But if you're not ready for the race, if you're waiting to get started, if you're waiting for other people to get started, you're going to be blinded by the light. You're going to be caught from behind, and the race is going to start, and you're going to just be getting off the blocks. I know that's not like any people on this call, because you wouldn't be on the call if you weren't ready for the big sprint and the success that you have ahead. And I'm here to help you with that success. So without any further ado, Hal, we have done. We're open for questions for anybody that needs any answers.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rick Goodman. Everybody, big hand for Dr. Rick. Put your hands together. Well, I felt like I was in SMX Convention Center once again, sitting in one of the tables and looking at you. You are so fired up. You are a natural. You are a great communicator, and you speak from your expertise and experience, and which is why your book speaks very much about who you are and your principles in life. And thank you for being solutions-oriented.
It's a great book.
It's a great book.
Read. In fact, Brian Tracy said that this is a fast-moving book loaded with great ideas that you can use immediately to set better goals, get more done, increase your income rapidly, and feel terrific about yourself. So I'll take it from Brian Tracy.
I'll take it from Brian Tracy and from you and from all the people who gave you a thumbs up for that book. Sir, that was wonderful. You did a great job. As always, what we'll give you now and our participants is a 2-minute break so that you can replenish yourself. You were so fired up. You slayed it. Thank you so much for that, sir. And for our participants, the 2-minute time will be given to you right now so that you can type in your questions. So don't you go away, everyone. We'll be right back. We promise that.